Okay. Professional. So I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:30. If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated by agenda item number 6. The board receives agenda item information and rationale for administrative recommendations for their thorough review prior to each meeting. I would like to recognize the media we have here tonight. We have Teresa Carano from the Tribune News and Carol Anders from Post and Mail. Thank you for being here tonight, ladies. And now we have the students of the month. And because I don't have my computer, I don't have all the names in front of me. Do you have the certificates? I feel out of place. Okay, but which school is this one from? Oh, perfect. There we go. So from the Whitko Junior Senior High, we have Easton Hilton. Are you going for Easton?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Oh wait, I'm supposed to hand you this.
Okay.
You gotta push the top button to turn it on. You gotta press and hold.
Doesn't do anything.
Press and hold it. There you go.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Good. Thank you. Okay. Just a quick little blurb here about Easton Hilton from his teacher, Kenny Miller. Just Easton finds solutions instead of relying on excuses. He is productive during class time and welcomes others to work with him. He has a great attitude, works well with classmates, and gets his work done, showing much growth from last year. That was from Kenny Miller.
Here is Easton.
And then Easton's good. Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, from the junior high, we have, it looks like Carly Schroff. Is that correct?
Yes, we do. And I actually have a letter from Carly to the school board.
Is this just going
as
to be
I
your,
transition? Yeah.
your show?
I don't know. All right. Dear school board members, my name is Carly Schroff. I am 13 years old and in 7th grade. I really enjoy playing sports and being active. I have been doing gymnastics for 9 years and I'm a level 9 gymnast. I have also been doing softball ever since I was little. I also participate in 4-H. I show feeder calves, dairy steers, goats, chickens, and several other non-animal projects. I am an NJSH and FFA. I am in National Junior Honor Society and FFA here at school. My favorite subjects are math, English, and agriculture. I would really like to thank Mr. Lehman for nominating me for the Student of the Month and all the other teachers who voted for me. I am very sorry I could not make the meeting today. Thanks again, Carly Schroff.
Apparently Florida ranked higher than school board meeting. I don't know. All right. Next up, it looks like we have Kate Moore from the South Whitley Elementary School.
She's on vacation also.
Kate Moore was nominated by Jane Trump, fourth grade teacher. Says Kate Moore is a very kind and respectful fourth grader. She is an ambassador for our school and models what doing the right thing and treating people right should look like through her actions and conversations. She sets a great example to other students in our school by showing her respect to teachers, staff, and other students, whether in our classroom or in our hallway, and it's always with a smile. She is eager to learn, kind to share, and ready to be a leader. We are proud to have Kate Moore representing our classroom and the 4th grade of South Whitley as the Student of the Month.
And we have from Pierceton Elementary, is it Taya, Floyd? Taya, okay, Floyd.
Mrs. Kenny is here.
Okay, I was saying nominated, I'm sorry, there's a paragraph by Miss Kinney, yep.
I'd like to focus first on Taya as a student. She always goes above and beyond what is asked of her. She always participates, helps others as needed, and just really goes above and beyond what we would expect of a 5th grade student. Always has a good attitude, works well with others in groups. But then I'd also like to focus on her as a person. She is an amazing role model to all the students in the class. She always has a smile, and if I'm having kind of a tough time with another student, she'll just look at me and give me that little smile or a quick little hug, and she just knows. And she just always keeps that smile and does everything very modestly and humbly. And she's just an amazing student and an even more amazing person.
You can stay standing up. Next, we have a special presentation from Dr. Brandon Penrod on the next level education, the Whitko Career Academy. I was saying that doesn't look like what you have on your screen.
Yeah, there's a,
You got it.
1 minute. If you need, yeah, I was gonna say, if you were here for special presentation, you'd like to leave, you're welcome to do so. That's pretty.
Unless you want to see it.
All of us stuck here for fall break should just look at that scenery and pretend that we're there. Just take a moment. Oh, well.
That's good.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere.
Sorry.
So you guys can get up. I can see okay if you want to move. Oh, there's where we really need to be. Forget the mountains. So if you guys want to move over there, you can see better. No pressure, Jane, but we're waiting
Yeah,
on you.
thank you. I know. I got it. Hopefully it's coming. There.
And now, Dr. Brandon Penrod and his
So I-
special presentation.
I apologize about the technical difficulties here. We are trying this on Google Chromecast for the first time, and so I apologize about the connectivity. So this, we went through this the other day, Tuesday, I believe, with Whitko Career Academy, and this was, I'll give you an abbreviated presentation of what we went through that particular day. And so we've got some aerial shots here. Mr. Haywood took these back a couple days ago, and then we started out just by showing the campus and the vastness of the campus, the building as well as the grounds, to kind of go into the prelude to how much opportunity this is and how many options we have here. And so this is a partnership for career training for the region. We think this is good for Whitko schools. Think this will be good for our students, but then also has the potential for some other outside entities because of the backing that we have, specifically backed by the 80/20 Foundation Trust and 80/20 Inc., as well as some other manufacturing partners, and we're still talking to some other people as well. And so, so some main discussion points. We've got we went over commonly held beliefs, and then we've got with the onset of our Christmas season, we've got education past, the needs of our community and region, education present, and needs of our students, and then education future. And so, as we go through this, I'll continue. I put this on every slideshow I've done so far this year, and we'll continue to do this. I think we know what I'm going to say about this, just that we're going to focus on what we do well and continue to improve on what we do well. So as we move on, we've got some planned events here. We had our stakeholders meeting school board meeting today, potential meetings with partners as needed, and then begin our building our master schedule in January of 2020. As far as commonly held beliefs, we believe all students can learn. And so we're a K-12 institution. We are here to make students successful, help students be successful. And so the quality of instruction is the most important factor in student learning. And so there's a lot of research that shows this. Demographics are important, but certainly the quality of instruction is the most important thing that we have. So in the past, we used to kind of say, okay, this is our K-12 building and this is what we do. So we would kind of go out to the community or out to the businesses, out to industry and say, what can you do for us? We're here, we're K-12, and what are you going to do for us? And we also we K-12, the K-12 industry, we kind of, over the past 25, 30 years, we kind of shaped people to go to a four-year college. And so as we get into the present day, we're kind of realizing that that's not for everybody. And so there's a lot of talk nationally about student debt and what college does as far as student debt. And so is there another way? And so you start thinking about that, and we think there is. And so as we move forward into the needs of our community and our region, we have people in the community and in the region telling us we need a skilled workforce. These are manufacturing businesses. These are health sciences businesses. We have people telling us we need to help adults gain skills and quality of life, which we think will indirectly help with the opioid epidemic, and then hopefully reduce recidivism in our counties, both Whitley and Kosciuszko County. The present then, we kind of started figuring out, again, K-12, not Whitko, K-12, kind of started figuring out we have to work with communities and businesses, and the students probably need some sort of real life expectation or real life experience. And so what's that look like at the time? We kind of just started getting into it in the last 6 or 8 years, but we do recognize we probably need to get that out there. So as we continue forward, what do students need? Students need are very great or very vast, and so we've got the student needs or wants. Does every student need to go to a four-year college? And we think the answer is no. We think you can have a pretty high quality of life without going to a four-year college. We just need to meet the student where they are and take them to where they need to be. So what does that do if you're not going to a four-year college, or even if you are? We've got to gain some skills for a career. We're trying to increase the quality of life of our students as once they graduate and become members of society. Gain soft skills, and so it's pretty easy to teach someone to do a skill that may require a machine or may require some sort of health science skill. But what about the soft skills? On time to work and making sure you show up every day and honesty and that kind of thing. And then what can we provide as K-12 as a K-12 institution? And so we have an audience here of kindergarten through 12th grade, and wouldn't it be nice to say that we have 12th graders that are graduating and moving right into the workforce, into a career that they want to do? And so that's where we come up with Education Future. And we kind of go to employers now, or potential employers now, members of the business community, and the community in general, and say, what can we do for you? So we used to have this little kind of in-the-box thinking that we're the school, so come help us. And now we're going out to the community and saying, what do we need to do for you? How can we help you? Because certainly businesses need manufacturers, need tool and die machinists, need phlebotomists, need nurses, need a little bit of everything. Okay, and so we have this potential workforce. So what can we do, and how can we help you to meet the needs of your business while also helping the school and the students meet the needs of themselves? So all students need to gain employability skills in a career. That's the purpose of going to school, right? So you can learn, so you can graduate, so you can do what you want to do in your career, so you can have the freedom to do what you want to do, and the necessary and the wherewithal to do what you choose to do and not be stuck in something you don't want to do. And then what can we provide? So we believe we can provide those skills to students. We think we can provide those programs to students. And we think we can provide a good graduate to complement what we're already doing. And so we think what we're doing here is outstanding, and we think this is another opportunity to provide different pathways for students based on the different laws and requirements for graduation. Now, this is another way for students that we can connect with students and help them gain employability skills as well as the credits and the skills necessary to graduate. And so we believe this is a good way to do it. We're retaining all of our assets. We have a building in Larville that's not used, and this will be used for that. We still retain ownership of that building. It's just a way to use that building and to offer our students yet another pathway that we can meet them where they are and take them to their success. And so, again, focus. Again, I said I'll say that every time we do one of these presentations, and continue to say that throughout the year. And the planned events, we have a board meeting tonight. We'll do additional meetings with partners as necessary. And the junior senior high school will begin building a master schedule sometime in January, February, and then we'll look to open this in the summer of 2020. So at this time, I'll kind of wrap up my presentation. That was somewhat abbreviated from our Tuesday meeting, but that's kind of where we left Tuesday. As far as next steps go, we'll form steering committees and a steering committee, and then we'll figure out which programs we're going to offer and where our focus needs to lie. And so, given the sponsorship or the partnership with 80/20 Foundation Trust and the Community Foundation of Whitley County, I would guess that at least part of that will be in manufacturing, given the backing of 80/20 Inc., as well as the Foundation Trust. But we had everybody that we could think of involved in this Tuesday meeting, from Whitley County, from Kosciuszko County. We had government officials from both. We had a state senator here, had a state representative here, and everyone in that meeting seemed to be very supportive, including the state senator, who on Facebook that night said something to the effect of being very proud of this district, because that's exactly what the area needs. And so, and again, that's not a direct quote, that's paraphrased, but that's kind of similar to what he said that particular night. So anyway, that's kind of our next steps, and if the board has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Could you explain a little bit, maybe not number-wise, but the funding and what that means to the taxpayers?
Yeah, good question. This is funded through a partnership with 80/20 Foundation Trust and the Community Foundation of Whitley County. We are looking for and talking to additional potential partners. I had a couple of people on Tuesday tell me that they support this and they want to talk more about how to financially support it, either with funding, personnel, equipment, or a combination of the three. And so we're continuing to have those discussions. But as far as tax rate goes, this will not impact tax rate at all. We'll recommend to pass the budget later tonight, and that tax rate's already been set. It's advertised high, as it always is, but once the DLGF works that budget, it comes back down to where we're at, or where we will be in 2020. But this particular project had nothing to do with the 2020 budget or any future budgets. As you know, the 2020 budget was advertised and posted back in I want to say September. I don't remember the exact date, but I want to say September. And so that was all set in stone before this even came into play. And so anything that was done after that September meeting doesn't affect tax rate for 2020. In addition to, because of the sponsorship with 80/20 Foundation Trust and the Community Foundation of Whitley County, there's no impact to the tax rate anyway.
Are there any other questions from the board?
Is the building satisfactory without a lot of additional construction or not?
Yeah, I don't believe there'll be a whole lot of additional construction. There might be a wall here and there, that kind of thing that we can do with money on hand. We also talked about some capital donations, and so we're working on some of that to see if that's an avenue to take. Most of the building is satisfactory, I would say. When we toured the building, I toured with Ivy Tech, toured with 80/20, toured with 80/20 Community Foundation, or 80/20 Foundation Trust, and they just kept saying, what a beautiful building. I can't believe how good this building is, how well kept this building is. Can't wait to get in here. One of them in particular said, I support a whole lot of stuff, but this particular project needs to happen, and it needs to happen in this building because this is just a great place for it. And so I don't expect a whole lot. Maybe pull up some carpet and that kind of stuff to for a harder floor, but I don't expect a whole lot of actual construction.
How about staff? Is it gonna be difficult to hire staff?
Staffing, I don't think so. I think their money, the 80/20 Foundation Trust money, will pay for the staff to the director's salary, and maybe some ancillary type salary with some help of maybe a grant writer if necessary. But from a staffing perspective, a couple of the manufacturers and other businesses I was talking to are interested in helping us with personnel, and I don't know what that might look like quite yet. We're talking Wednesday with one in particular to talk about how they might send somebody over, or they continue on their payroll, but they assign them to Larwell for a couple hours, and then they go back to their job to work, just so they can be trained on their specific machine.
How about the steering committee? If I have people reaching out that want to be part of that, how do we?
If
How
there's
do you start with that? You don't want a huge steering committee, but how do you?
Right. If there are people who are interested in the steering committee, right now I would say to email wca@whitko.org.
Okay.
So wca@whitko.org if there are people interested in being on the steering committee.
Any other questions or comments? I personally want to comment. I'm the emotional one of the board in Georgia sometimes, right? That I know Georgia, Jarrell's back there. I've talked to Eric Trump that the last few years have been tough, to say the least. But this feels like the right answer, and this is so exciting for both the whole Whitko community. That we have a traditional setting of high school, and then we have this option here that could be huge, and we don't know what that looks like, and it's exciting to me that it's a very little risk dollar-wise on our side, that why wouldn't we give it a go? And so for those of us who have gone through the trenches in the last 4 years, this feels like the answer we've been seeking, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but please don't hesitate if you have comments or questions about it to reach out to Dr. Penrod's office, reach out to one of us. If we don't know the answer, we will find it for you. It may be something we haven't thought about, and I'm just ready to get started and get going, because this feels right, and I cannot wait to see it come to fruition. Like, I want to enroll if I can. So anyway, so thank you to all the community for sticking by us and still believing in Whitko, and I've said this for 3 years. I feel like the best is yet to come, and I think this is our answer. So thank you for all your hard work on that, and also keeping taxes in mind, because that's another one of our things that we've really been focused on. So anyway, all right, I made it without crying. Okay. Moving on along, we have the approval of minutes, so I'm going to go to you.
Okay, we've got minutes of the following meetings presented. We have the September regular session and the October 10th executive session. Are there any requests for reading aloud or any corrections to the minutes?
Hearing no questions or corrections, all in favor of approving the,
Motion.
I'm sorry, the motion of, do I have a motion of, hang on, let me back up. Do I have a motion to approve, to accept the minutes of the September regular session and the October executive session?
So moved. Second.
Hearing a first and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes.
Okay, next we have department reports, and if we could start with Mrs. Smith at Pearston.
Thank you. Good evening. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things from my report. First of all, we have a big upcoming event. We have Grandparents' Day coming up. PTO is planning that, and I think it's going to be a really exciting day. It's November 5th. Actually, November 5th is going to be a very busy day, because we also have our first arts program that evening for 4th and 5th graders. So, and the book fair, planning it all at once.
Go big or don't go.
That's right. That's right. But Grandparents' Day is going to be a fun event where the grandparents can come and eat lunch with the kids and have a little bit of time to be in the school. And we're just really excited to open our doors to the community and family like that. So that's a very exciting thing. Just another thing I wanted to highlight is we have our house system kickoff coming up next Friday, and this is where the students will be put into a house. And I just wanted to read off the house character focus areas. So each house has one of these focus areas: integrity, empathy, friendship, respect, perseverance, and responsibility. So we were super excited. This is all part of our year-long plan for positive behavior and building community. And I just want to say we had awesome attendance at our parent-teacher conferences, and it's always great to hear that conversation from the parents about, what can they do to help. They're so proud of their kids, and we have just great, hardworking kids and families and teachers, and we appreciate them very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Pass it on to, yeah.
Mr. Evans?
Just pick one.
I just wanted to highlight a few things. A few weeks ago, on October 11th, our PTO held their annual mother-son event, and it was invited by both elementaries, and it was the funniest thing I've been to all year. And I want to thank both the PTOs and the staff from both buildings putting that together. And we had a lot of our junior, senior high kids come over and volunteer some time, so that was great to see them. We just finished up our volleyball season, and so our boys basketball will be starting right after fall break. And I wanted to publicly thank Coach Brandy Smith for a great and exciting season. She has already told me since her daughter's coming up here next year that she's not going to be coaching. So we're looking for a volleyball coach. And upcoming is our annual Veterans Day program, and we're going to hold ours on Friday, November 8th, starting at 1:45. I know that Veterans Day is that following Monday, but sometimes if we talk to people, they sometimes try to bide their time to try to go to as many things as they can. So we decided to have ours on a Friday afternoon before the week of Veterans Day. So everyone is invited. That starts at 1:45. And want to thank Mr. Van Patten and Mrs. Henthorn for accepting our invitation to come over. They'll have the junior, senior high band and the gospel choir at our program. So thank you.
Mr. Lehman?
Okay, since we're highlighting, I will just touch on a few things that happened over the past 30 days. We had a systems readiness test on our assessment platform at the high school, and that went well. We have no issues. Don't know if the state has issues, but we don't have issues. So that's a plus. And we had, I believe, how many we had take that?
125.
Yeah, so it was a pretty robust test, and so we are prepared from a system standpoint for the assessments that are coming our way. All the teachers, instructors, and administrators have gone through testing integrity as well, so they'll be prepared for that. Had a number of grants come through during the past 30 days. That will continue to support programs. For non-English speaking program, grant was awarded, high ability grant. We also have an early intervention literacy grant that came through in the past 30 days. From a special education standpoint, fun things happening in the applied skills programming at both the elementary and the secondary level. They're going to begin doing their CBI or community-based instruction this month. That involves aquatherapy at the Y. It also involves equine therapy at Magic Meadows, and that is a very beneficial program for the kids to participate in the applied skills program here and at the elementary level. Nice thing about this program is that the equine program is funded by an anonymous gift. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do that, and so we're very thankful for that. It gives our kids just an added benefit and something else to excel at. I participated in a couple large council events over the past month. I accepted a invitation to be the state liaison for the State School Board Association for Special Education Administrators. So you'll be possibly hearing from me at your meetings. We also discussed introducing some trauma-informed instruction and new interventions within classrooms at both the elementary and secondary levels. So interesting things happening that will continue to happen as we progress through this month.
Thank you.
Just have a couple things. I touched base last month on the Zonar equipment that we've got running up in 2 of the school buses, the new buses. Since that time frame, we've integrated the routing software into the Zonar, which is a lot of neat stuff. So we're going to play around with that a little bit before we make a recommendation whether to go forward to integrating that in all the school buses. Right now it looks good. There's some neat stuff there that we can look at. This week is National School Bus Safety Week. Students are not in school, but we are continuing to.
We are safe. We are super safe.
Yeah, it's going to be a safe week, but we are at the bus shop reviewing routes as far as making it safer boarding, unloading. So we continually work at that. But this week with the students not in session, it gives us a little extra time to look at that. We had a winter preparedness meeting last week, focusing on the snow removal and implementation of delays, closing procedures. Everything seems to be in place for that, and we're ready to go. November 15th last year was our first snow closing day, so it is fast approaching, so we're ready. I do want to mention Speedway Ready Mix in Columbia City donated 12 pillars for our pole barn at the bus shop for the sand and calcium that we'll be storing there. It looks really nice. Mike Sands went and picked them up. They were initially going to charge, and they just at the end of the day they said, hey, it's a donation. So we'd like to publicly acknowledge we appreciate that. The Whitko Career Academy. We stand ready to provide whatever transportation requirements are going to be required, and hopefully that's something we'll be working on soon. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Hey guys.
Hi.
So from the junior senior high school standpoint, service day, got some of our numbers back from service day. I asked all of our students after they conducted their service project how they felt about it. Asked them 2 questions. On a scale of 1 to 5, how'd you feel about service day? And on a scale of 1 to 5, how likely are you to participate in the future? And I got over 300 responses, and over 70% rated it 3 or higher on how they felt, and about 50% said they were very likely a 4 or a 5 to do one in the future. So good feedback from our students thus far on our service day project we did earlier. Homecoming wrapped up. A lot of great festivals and activities that went on in the junior senior high schools. Every high school did around that time in the fall. Parent-teacher conferences as well. We had a pretty good turnout when it comes to junior senior high school. Seems to always be the trend that the percentage of participants kind of trickles down as you get to higher grade levels. You guys have the breakdown of the data there as well. Good representation from our 7th grade. Had a FAFSA meeting for some of our seniors and parents, and for those parents so they can understand what does it mean to fill out that FAFSA, because you have to. You're highly encouraged to, I should say. Peacekeepers, that's for our junior high students. That just wrapped up this past week. Mike Hambeck runs the Peacekeeper program, kind of works for peer-to-peer conflict resolution. Some of our junior high students that might have some conflict with each other. His program kind of outlines how they can step in and intervene and try and help resolve that conflict. And it's much more powerful when it comes from the peers rather than an adult, even in my role. So it was awesome. I got to go see what they were doing over in, oh man, I can't pronounce it, guys. I'm sorry. Koinonia. Yep, there you go. I'm sorry. But it was really cool to see what they were doing in the big group, and they made some songs based upon what they learned. So it was pretty awesome. And then upcoming, we're in fall break, and we've got Veterans Day celebration on November 11th as well. So I appreciate Mr. Emmert for moving that date for them, and it'll be good to share some resources on that. So.
Yeah. What time is your?
What time
That's
is
all.
yours?
We haven't nailed out a solid time yet because we're still waiting to hear back on one presenter to see if they're available.
Okay.
As soon as I get that, I'll let you guys know. That's all I got.
Yours is 8:30. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Okay. On the 11th. Okay. And what time is South Whitley start?
1:45 on the 8th.
On the 8th. Okay, on that Friday. Gotcha.
Okay, from the superintendent's update, the presentation would be most of my update, but I do want to update student count, just because we try to do that every month. Our attendance on, we pulled this on, Amy pulled it Friday the 18th, and we were at 1294. So 1,294 students, and that is K through 12. Some other stuff that I wanted to kind of recognize, but I'll do that in the miscellaneous administrative items at the end. So any questions on the attendance before I move into financial stuff? Mr. Everett, could you share the October 21st, the slide from that? The fourth one down there. Yeah, I'm going to stand up just so I can see this a little better. So this is our financial report. This is what we see every month. So we'll start with our appropriation report here at the top, and we've got $9 million appropriated with $9,250,756. This month we expended just over $487,000, and our year-to-date expended is $5,365,000, which means our unexpended balance is 3.8, almost 3.9 million. We have encumbrances of almost 10,000, and an unencumbered balance of 3.8, almost 3.9 million dollars. So we are following this 101, this education line over. We're at 58.11% expended, and this is through the end of September, so that is 75% through the school year. So again, that's a good, just like it's been every month, that's a good indicator that we are managing our money and our appropriations in a positive way to see the amount encumbered is less than the amount of the year that we are completed. So the next one down is our debt service. Debt service is paid, as you know, twice a year. We had no activity in there this particular month or in September, and so we're still at 49.06% expended. Our 300 is our operations. Our operations appropriation is just over $5.1 million. We spent almost $277,000 last month, making our year-to-date expended just under $3 million. We have an unexpended balance of $2.179 million, and then outstanding encumbrances of $19,000 this particular month, which leaves our unencumbered balance at 2.16. And so again, we are 57% expended, 57.7% expended, and we're 75% through the year. So again, that's a good indicator. Rainy day, we put on there. Rainy day does not have a tax rate associated with it, but it does have. It does go through the same budgeting process as the tax funds. And so we've appropriated $338,000. We've spent nothing. We had no activity in there, and we have 0% encumbered for the rainy day fund. Down here is actual cash on hand, actual cash balances at the end of the month of September. So at the beginning of the year, the education fund had no money in it. That was the transition between the general fund and the education fund. So we transferred that money into the education fund. So now we've had $8.66 million transferred in, or revenue, excuse me, and year-to-date expenses of $5.365 million. Our beginning of the month balance, beginning of September, was just over $3 million. We have $770,000 coming in, which is mostly state basic grant. We had $487 spent, which is here and here, they match. $487,000 spent, leaving our balance in our education fund and I did not change this. This should be September, but it's just under $3.3 million, 3.294. Our debt service fund is, again, no activity there, and so we'll see, we started with 1.805 million, end with 1.805 million. Our operations fund, again, no beginning of the year balance because it didn't exist prior to this year. On January 1, everything got switched over. So we have revenue in the operations fund of $4.633 million. We spent just under that $3 million for our $2.9 million for our year, so that matches that. We have an unexpended balance of just under $2 million, 1.982, and an outstanding encumbrance of $202.92, leaving an unencumbered balance of $276,000 and a month-to-date expenses of $276,000 and $1.7 million in cash. Let me back up a little bit. The 202 is month-to-date revenue, and so revenue, that's a tax fund, and so revenue does not come in to the tax funds very often. It's a couple times a year, and so this is not one of those times. The 202 is could be an advanced draw, or could be rental income, that kind of stuff. Could be a reimbursement, but it's certainly not a whole lot of money coming into a tax fund that's got $5 million appropriated to it. And then our rainy day, again, beginning of the year balance, $338,000, no activity, so we still have $338,000. Any questions from the board on that? Sorry, I messed up that last part there. Okay, so that's fund report, appropriation, revenue report. We saw, or you can link to it. That was a summary of the revenue report as well. And there's no action to take there. That part is just for information. We'll do the action that's on the consent agenda next. Yeah. Well, we'll do that.
Okay, so just keep going,
Yeah.
so public. So next on the agenda is public comments. I don't see any forms filled out. So moving on to the consent agenda.
So the consent agenda, are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda shown in items 7.1 through 7.3?
No.
If not, they will be moved to action items below. The remaining items will be recommended to pass, so there are nothing to be pulled off of there. If there are any questions, now would be a good time to ask. If not, I would ask for a motion in a second.
To have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, 7.1 through 7.3.
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
Thank you. Next, we have personnel, 7.4. We have 4 discontinuations. We have about 9 employment actions and no change in positions at this time.
Do I have a motion to approve agenda item 7.4 for personnel as presented?
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes.
If I could stop just for a second and introduce a couple people. Mr. Lewis is here. Mr. Lewis is take over as the director of the Whitko Career Academy, again funded with 80/20 Foundation Trust dollars. And so if you want to stand up and just kind of wave and introduce your wife.
Hello, my name is Joe Lewis. This is my wife Carrie, and really excited about this opportunity. I had a chance to hear about it a couple months ago, and I've been working in similar situation with academies and engineering and manufacturing and education, and it was too good of an opportunity to not get involved with. So it's really exciting, not just locally, but statewide. You know, I hear from lots of people that I've been associated with that are excited about what's happening. So really glad to be here, looking forward to it, and should be a very special project. So thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And Carrie also, we're looking forward to getting here and move soon.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll get you some cat gear too. So.
Yeah, all right.
right.
Do that.
And then Mrs. Montague is also here.
Hi, I'm Shelley Montague. It says Heather on the edge of my given name. Everybody calls me Shelley. If you call me Heather, I probably won't answer because only. That's what it says on my taxes. I will be working at the central office, and I've worked in government finances before, so I look forward to meeting all of you, and I don't plan on letting any of you down, so thank you very much for this opportunity. And this is my husband Brandon. Hi Brandon.
Shannon didn't hug her on her like come up. Yeah.
All right. I don't have any old business at this time. I don't think we have anything that's outstanding from past board meetings. Move on to new business. We have a review of field trips. Field trip report is presented. Do we have any questions on that?
Do we need to approve that one? I think
yes.
we normally do. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to approve the field trip report as presented?
So moved.
Second.
First, a second, and a second. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes.
Thank you. Our next one, new business 9.2, we have recommendation to approve the 2020 school budget, capital projects, and replacement plans. This is what we referenced earlier. This has been advertised legally on Gateway in the paper, etc. And then this is what we had our hearing on last week, I believe it was. And again, nothing has changed from what we've advertised in the past and in the newspaper and on Gateway. And so, at this time, I would recommend that we pass that with a motion and a second and a vote.
Do I have a motion to approve the 2020 school board budget, capital project, and bus replacement plans as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes.
Okay, one thing as a reminder, we have a lot of budget forms in here that need to be signed so we can get uploaded. And if they are not uploaded by our certain time, I believe it's Wednesday, then we have to redo a lot of this.
So
if
don't
we can-
leave until we
If we can
sign
get those signed, I appreciate it.
And congratulations, you're done.
What you didn't know is I gave her a hug.
Did you give her a hug? I know, I was like, I'm gonna guess there was excitement, so yes.
9.3, permission is requested for a T-shirt sale for the Good Beginnings preschool. And this will basically fund supplies that are necessary for the preschool. You can read the paragraph there. The intent is to provide shirts for the community outings and our graduation, along with raising some funds to support further learning in our classroom. So, any questions, I'd be glad to entertain. If not, I'd recommend a motion in a second for approving the fundraiser.
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes.
Okay, and this has been done. This next one, 9.4, has been done in the past. The Old German Baptist Brethren Church is requesting use of 2 buses on December 6th and 7th to take the group of students caroling, travel to Epworth Forest and North Webster for the Way of Christ retreat. Whitko bus drivers Brock and Gwen Ostrom have agreed to drive. The church provides the insurance and the cost of fuel for the trips. And so again, this is something that's been done, I believe it's done quite a bit on a pretty regular schedule. So if there are any questions, I'd be glad to entertain. If not, I'd recommend a motion to approve those 2 school buses as presented.
So moved.
Second, there you go. We have a first and second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
Okay, as far as miscellaneous administrative items, couple different things. I know we continue to talk about different initiatives we have in place here, and we continue to work on. And I can't say enough about how hard our teachers and staff are working with our administrators about with the Wednesday morning collaborations, with collaborations during the day, during the prep period. And some of this is changing, and I know it's a big change from what they've done in the past. And I appreciate the flexibility with what they're doing, because I think we'll see that pay off. And so the things that I'm talking about, the unpacking of standards, identifying high priority standards. Our administrators work with the DOE on a administrative kind of boot camp, just to make sure we always have our goals in front of us. We have NIET, as you know, so we continue to talk about the rubric and train people on the rubric. And it's just, it is a lot of work, and I just want to publicly say I appreciate that, and I think that'll pay off, both from the teachers and the administrative standpoint. You can feel an energy when you walk in the building. It's good stuff. And so I certainly appreciate that. And then I also wanted to say congratulations to the band for qualifying, and wish them the best of luck going forward. So,
Semi-state, right?
yeah, semi-state. Mm-hmm.
Do you mind mentioning something about the West family and their benefit on
Oh, sure. Saturday, what time?
I don't know the time yet either. I haven't
So
seen
we,
it.
Mr. Haywood's been working with some community members on promoting a benefit for the West family that lost their home in a fire this past week. And so that is Saturday at the Cleveland Township, correct? Volunteer Fire Department. And time-wise,
Noon, someone's saying noon.
at noon. Okay, and so we've got a chili supper, I believe, or chili fundraiser, Cleveland Township Volunteer Fire Department, noon on Saturday to help out Larwell, to help out one of the families
Oh, Cleveland, oh,
here in South Whitley, Cleveland Township in South Whitley.
oh, that's right.
Oh, I thought it was in. Okay, thank you.
So again, I know that was a little kind of choppy, but it's on Facebook as well. I believe that's on our site with Mr. Haywood put that on there. And so if you have any questions or anything, please give us a call, but we'll certainly do whatever we can to promote that.
Okay, are there any other announcements? Anything you just want to say out loud? Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Our next meeting.
Oh, I didn't announce our next meet. Our next meeting will be at Pearston on November 18th. Dun, 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 we're coming your way. Do you know that?
We talked about that today.
Surprise!
We talked about that today. She's got something going on that we want to highlight, but it may not be done by November, so,
Asterisks.
yes.
Okay. So we will possibly be we'll figure out where we are. Yes. Watch for your announcements. Thank you all for coming. Here, start signing these babies. Can you sign that?
That'd be good.